In this video, we're going to answer the lifelong question of, is Mobile, Alabama the rainiest city in the entire United States? So we're going to answer that, and we're going to talk about what you need to be prepared to actually live here in the city of Mobile. So let's dive in. Well, as you can tell, I've got a few props here. I've got several umbrellas, I've got a raincoat, and I'm going to talk with you about what it's like to live in the city of Mobile in this crazy weather that we experience on a daily basis. My name is Jeff Jones with Keller Williams, right here in the city of Mobile, where I've lived my entire life. And I absolutely love it when you guys reach out to me. I get a phone call, text message, or an email from someone I don't know, and you're asking questions about the city, but also wanting to know about the moving process. So reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you any way that I can. But very important, if you'll click the link below, there is a city guide put out by the Mobile Chamber of Commerce that's going to answer so many questions and give you a sneak peek into all things that the city of Mobile has to offer. So let's talk about all these details and what you're going to need to live right here. So let's start off by getting the answer to the question we get asked so many times. Siri, what's the rainiest city in the United States?
Here's what I found from worldpopulationreview.com. Mobile is the rainiest city in the United States. Mobile receives an average annual rainfall of 67 inches and has about 59 rainy days per year.
Well, there you go. Now, if Siri could just learn how to pronounce mobile actually the right way and saying Mobile. Now, if you want some more help on pronunciations, I made a video about that to really help you fit into Mobile. But there's your answer. So Mobile is the rainiest city in the entire United States. Now, I brought some props today, and the reason I did that was so you could really understand the true experience of what it's like to live in Mobile. I didn't do any type of prep work. This is actually what is usually in my car at all times. Now, of course, I've got my raincoat, and this is really helpful, of course, when I'm out showing property. But just in general, having a raincoat in your car is a great idea. Now, as far as umbrellas, well, there are a few things you have to keep in mind. Number one, you've got to have the small umbrella. This is for, emergencies. You need to take it with you and you want to kind of have it concealed. Well, you got to have a small umbrella. And then, of course, you got to have the big umbrella. Now, this is for the major downpours and when it's really coming down. And often, you'll do this, when you've got somebody you're walking with, and open up the umbrella and, you're walking in the rain with somebody else. You're both covered. But the other thing you've got to have, and remember, I already had these in my car. You've got to have the medium-size umbrella. Of course, I've got two options for that, the traditional kind, and then I've got this other thing called the better brella that opens up backwards. So you've got to have all of those options in your car. And the reason why is you never know when it's going to rain. So life in Mobile, well, let me just kind of peel back the curtain and give you some insight. So today, got outside, I thought, well, it looks like it might rain. Of course, I checked my stock in the back seat and I had all these items. And then lo and behold, as I pulled out, the bottom fell out. I mean, it was pouring down, it was crazy. And then got into work, I thought, man, it's gonna rain all day long. And then when we got ready to shoot the video, we went outside, dry as a bone. Not a drop in the sky, the clouds are starting to clear up. And that's what happens a lot in Mobile. So, you might be in a situation where you're thinking it's gonna rain all day, and then just in an hour or so it clears up. So that's one of the things about being in Mobile is the weather is very unpredictable. That's just part of it. And the other part about the weather in Mobile is it changes from, today it's probably a high of 80, but tomorrow, well, it's gonna be maybe in the 50s. So that's just common if you live in Mobile, and you can't be too stuck in your ways. You just kind of have to go with the flow. So for many of you who do not know, the book or the movie, Forrest Gump, well, it was written by someone very close to here, Fairhope, Alabama, Winston Groom, and of course there's a lot of scenes in there that talk about rain. When Forrest and Bubba were in Vietnam, he's talking about all the different types of rain. I guess I can do a pretty poor impression of Forrest Gump, but he was saying, it's big, fat, stingy rain. Well, let me tell you, it rains like that in Mobile. And the thing is, you've got where it's drizzling. Now, that's a word we use in the South. I've talked about that in other videos. It drizzles, and that's when you might not even need an umbrella. Maybe just a raincoat would be good for that. But then you've got a downpour. That's another word we use. Call it a downpour, and that's definitely when you're going to need this umbrella. And that's when, I mean, the bottom just falls out. So we'll often say that, man, the bottom fell out. And so raining in Mobile, you've got your drizzle and you've got your downpour, and those are just some of the things that happen when you live here. But the other thing is we're going to have these thunderstorms, and thunderstorms happen on the spur of a moment. It'll be in the summer, you know, you've got beautiful weather, and you're not thinking anything bad's gonna happen, and then all of a sudden, it gets a little dark in the middle of the afternoon, you see all these clouds, and then bam! I mean, this crazy thing happens, it scares everybody in your family, you run around, you're like, unplug the TV, you know, unplug the internet, everything, and then, you know, you might have this happen for 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and then after that, it clears up, and it's gone, and then you're back to normal, and you're thinking, what just happened? Like literally, what just happened? But that's thunderstorms. And then people will ask, well, what about, you know, tornadoes and hurricanes? Well, we have some of those in Mobile from time to time. But with hurricanes, I will say they're rare, and it just depends on where you live. Where you live, are you gonna have to have flood insurance? That's a topic for a whole nother video. But most homes in Mobile, Alabama do not require flood insurance. It's a little unknown fact. But you just have to be aware of where you live, look at the topography, and we're going to talk about flooding and different flood zones and that sort of thing, and how you need to cater your driving around that. So, but just keep in mind, there are different types of rain. You've got the drizzle, you've got the downpour, you know, you've got the thunderstorms. All of those things are part of living in Mobile. Have one of these and you'll be just fine. So what do you do in Mobile with all that rain? So I had a poll on Facebook, and I asked everybody, hey, what do you do? What do you like to do when it rains? And there were so many comments. And so I want to talk about that just a little bit. You know, obviously you've got your folks who might be retired, and they say, grab a book and listen to the rain and just chill out on your front porch swing, which of course is a great idea. But you know, what about with kids? So often, some of the things that people who live in Mobile take for granted is we have some incredible museums. We've got a great art museum, we've got history museums, Mardi Gras museums. That's the kind of thing you can do on a rainy day. The other thing, you know, we've got splash pads, and hey, if it's raining, I guess take in the rain, absorb it, and embrace the rain and go to a splash pad. We've got one at Cottage Hill Park. There's several others around the community. You can check that out. But go to a movie. We've got several movie theaters in Mobile. We have two, actually, that I'm going to call specialty theaters. You've got the Crescent Theater downtown, and then you've got Nexus Dining out in West Mobile. That's my favorite. I love it. It's a full dining experience. They've got great steak tips. It's just a really, really nice place to go if you want to unwind, kick back in the chair. Perfect for when it's raining. But, you know, those are just a few ideas of what you can do in Mobile when it rains. But I will say, the weather is changing all the time. In fact, let's do this and see what happens. What's the forecast like today?
The forecast is calling for thunderstorms today.
Thunderstorms in Mobile. You never can tell what the weather's going to be like, but what you can always count on is that it's always changing. Well, that's it, folks. I want to wrap up this video by telling you of a couple things that I really want you to check out. Number one, got a brand new podcast. It's called Living in Mobile, Alabama. You can check that out. There's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to that. And then if you want to listen on Spotify or iTunes, you can do that as well. But we recently interviewed a lady who moved to the city of Mobile from out of town, and she's lived in Midtown for just over a year, and her experience has been incredible. So if you check that out, I believe it's episode number 6, where she talks about her experience of walking around the city, going from all over, from Midtown to downtown, and what it's like actually walking places. She talks about the neighbors, so many great things that she really peels back the curtain and shares an insider's look as to what it's like to live in Midtown. But check that out. It's a podcast. But also, if you have other questions, my website is livinginmobile.com. I've got a lot of resources. I've got vendors. You know, if you're considering moving here and you want to talk to home inspectors, lenders, we've got all that stuff. And then, of course, we've got all these other videos that we've recorded over the last few years. So check it out. If you want to know about different neighborhoods, well, chances are I've done a video on it. But if you will, leave me a comment below if you have questions, or, you know, you're just not quite sure if you're ready to consider Mobile, or if you're open to living across the bay. Well, we help folks over there as well. Spanish Fort, Daphne, Fairhope, so many great places all around this area. As you can tell, I love it. I've lived here my entire life. But what I also love is when I look down at my phone and there's a number I don't recognize. So shoot me a message, call me, reach out to me. Any way I can help you, I'll be happy to do it. And I can't wait for the next video.